Welcome to Meant to Meet, the podcast where love stories come to life. Every great love story starts with a moment. On this podcast, we'll sit down with couples from all walks of life to hear the real stories behind how they met. Whether their journey started in a diner or a coffee shop, at the dog park or by accident. We hope that these conversations encourage your faith and remind you that God is always at work in our lives. So if you're in love, hoping for love, or simply enjoy listening to how people met, you're in the right place. So settle in, get comfortable, and have a little fun while we celebrate the moments that brought people together. Thank you for joining us on Meant to Meet.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're so happy that you can join us on Meant to Meet. This is our first episode, and we're so excited about giving a platform where people can share their love stories. Throughout life, I have always enjoyed listening to how people met, and I came up with this idea through a meeting that we had with some young ladies at our church, and we began to share our love stories, and they were just so exciting. And we just want to put this platform out here so that people can call in and share their love stories.
Hi, my name is Terry Calhoun. I am 61 years old, a young 61.
A young, a young 61,
Yes, I
a
am.
young 61 whippersnapper. I'm 55 years old. I tell folks that I'm 28, but I can't fool them no more. So I just have go ahead and embrace 55. There's a lot of people that didn't see 55 and some that didn't see 28. So we're just happy to be here, and I'm so excited about this opportunity again. So we're going to start by just sharing our story of how we met. It was in 2017, maybe 2017.
Thank you.
I would say the summer.
No, you know what's man ain't got no good remembering like stuff like that. So I guess it was
About
2007.
2017, yeah. And it was pretty unique. A lot of people, we met in a gas station. There's rare that you hear about people meeting at gas station, but it is a good opportunity for people to meet. And what's so crazy about it is we go to it almost every Sunday. I could never remember what happened inside the gas station, but it's what happened on the outside of the gas station, because that was actually how we met on the outside. So you want me to tell it, or you want to tell it?
It was cold and real cold. Normally you see a woman pumping her own gas,
Mm-hmm.
and when it be cold, you don't mind helping.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any decent man will help anyway.
Right.
But these days, you got these young guys, let the woman pump the gas, they sit in the car, and she be pumping and paying for it at the same time.
Right.
So I figure I would help this young lady pump her gas since it was so cold outside.
Yes.
So that's kind of how we sort of met.
Yeah, yeah. And we did have a brief introduction inside. It was brief. I want to say either in line or while I was getting coffee. If I remember correctly, I was on my way to work. So I pulled up to the store part of the gas station, right, to get some coffee. And you were pumping gas outside. Came inside to pay for your gas.
Yes, sir.
Right. I didn't come to get gas. I just came to get some coffee. I had about 30 minutes before I had to be to work on a Saturday. We briefly greeted each other inside the store. That was it. He went on out before me. And then I was still in, I guess, getting coffee, I believe, and finally went up to pay for that. And when I came outside, I saw that there was some poop on my windshield. And it might have already been there. I just don't know, or either it happened that day. And I said, well, let me just go and get it off because I had a few minutes. And so I pulled over. Now, I remember this distinctly. I pulled over to one of the open gas station areas, where you can wash your windows. And I got out and I proceeded to wash the driver's side of my window. And then I went over to wash the passenger side with the little squeegee thing. And as I'm washing the passenger side with the squeegee thing, in my peripheral, I see someone walking up to me. And it was my husband, it was Terry. And he greeted me, asked me how I was doing, my name, things along that line. And then we just briefly talked and greeted each other, and he asked me for my phone number, and I gave it to him. And then I got on in the car to go to work. He went on back to his car. He was a good little ways over, maybe about 2 to 3 pumps over from me. And so, just very casual. And I drove off to go to work, and probably within a few minutes, my phone was ringing. And I answered it. And he said, "Hi, this is TC, and I just wanted to call you and say I was happy to meet you." And I said, "Oh, that was just the sweetest thing." Because, a lot of people waiting call the next day. And I think I found out later that he called because he wanted to be sure I gave him the right number.
Yeah, well, normal, you could give you the wrong number in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And I was still trying to figure out what I was doing at MAPCO because I was kind of like, freshly coming out of divorce, and I was staying on the other side of town.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out why I ended up at MAPCO, but I never figured out why I ended up at MAPCO. So,
Baby, this is my first time hearing that.
yes,
I didn't know that.
I was staying in Woodmere's
You
apartment.
sure were. You was on
And I
Woodmere.
went past about at least six service stations. And I try to figure out why I was on that side of town. Because I know I'll be off on the weekend anyway. So maybe I stopped by I don't know. I still try to figure out. Because I didn't go inside getting nothing to drink or nothing like that.
You had something to eat in your hand. I remember
Yes,
that. You
that
had
part.
something to eat. And so were you kind of preparing for the video to say that, or you just came up with that just now?
No, I
Remember?
came up with that whole time. I was
Yeah.
thinking about how I really did get over there. Like I say, I came past Exxon and all that.
We've been married for 6 years. And we dated for 2 before we got married. This is my first time hearing about that he didn't know why.
I stopped at MAPCO. And maybe it probably because MAPCO was a new service station at the time. Maybe because I just wanted to
It
see
was
what it
new.
It was probably just that problem.
You know what's so crazy?
Yes.
They were popping up a lot of new MAPCOs. And we made it our business to go and visit each of these new MAPCOs after they came open. I love going to see how the coffee stations look. I mean, we made it our business, y'all. But it was a new MAPCO. But this is my first time hearing him say he didn't know why he ended up at that MAPCO.
Maybe it's the Lord. I don't know. I don't know why I was there.
I mean, I believe it was the Lord. And we were meant to meet. We were just meant to meet, baby.
Because you got to think about 1, 2. Before I get on the boulevard, I compared 3 service stations.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was one not a walking distance from the apartment.
Right. There's a Raceway. There's several Exxons and
You got the little
Chevrons.
shopping center where they sold the donuts and all that. That's a service station.
Were there still any Intex in 2017?
Yeah.
Because I love me some Intex.
Intex way down the old way.
Woo!
Like I'm heading to work.
I love some Intex.
I don't think they had too many Intex. I think that was the only Intex at the time.
Wow.
I think it was, yes.
Oh, wow. Y'all, it's my first time hearing this story that he didn't know why he was at that gas station. So, my Lord, that's just amazing. Because I know I was there to get coffee. And I was, at that time, right up the street. So, this is going to lead into another part. And I almost don't want to share too much of it because God has blessed us. I wrote a book, and it's coming out this Father's Day. And I'm sharing a little bit more in there about the upcoming to how we met. And I've even put in the book that I didn't share too much about how we met because I want people to come and see it on the podcast. So I'm going to share a little bit here. But when we met at the time, I was actually homeless. And it wasn't because I didn't have any family here to stay with. But at that moment, it just wasn't meant for me to be living with a family member. I had been evicted from an apartment that I had. Falsely, and I was waiting for them to call me back. I love the apartment. I just knew they was going to call me back, get it straight. And they had someone new in the office that had misplaced my rent. And so they did the proceedings to evict me with the attorney's fees and everything. And I had the funds to pay it. I just refused to. And so I come home one day and they're putting my furniture outside. And I told them, I said, you all could have waited another hour or two. The furniture people are on the way. I had no problems with the eviction because I knew I was not wrong for what had happened. And I just figured they would catch it in time, but they didn't. I was evicted. And when the furniture people got there, because I lived upstairs, they said, they saw my stuff and they said, ma'am, don't be embarrassed. They said they actually saved you some money because we charge by the hour. And if we would have had to go upstairs and get your stuff, they would have taken us 2 or 3 times as long. So now that we just have to get it off the ground, it saved me some money. Even though that felt good, then saying that, it did not feel good seeing my items on the front lawn. So, you're in an apartment community, there are people downstairs below you, next to you, around you. Everybody's seeing your business out in the street. But it was what it was, and it happened. But I had a an aunt that was deployed and had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And I did not press about staying there because my cousin had already said he would watch her home. And he had never lived by himself. And he was in his late 20s to early 30s, and I didn't want to impose. And I had another aunt that I could have stayed with, but I had stayed with her about a decade earlier, and I got caught up. The food was so good over there. I just, wanted to live there forever. And but I stayed there about a year, but I didn't want to go back there either because I think there were some other younger family members there, or either she had a house full, I don't know. But it just wasn't meant for me to act. So I said, I'm not going to be out here alone. I'll just stay in my car, put my stuff in storage. They set my storage room up like an apartment. Y'all, I lived in my storage room. And until they caught me in there. And then I started sleeping in my car. And my husband knows all this. I slept in the park, and the police would come in the park and knock on my window, and I would stay on waiting for my aunt to get home to let me in. And then went looking for a townhouse. Just go see if I can find a place, because this was probably about maybe 2 or 3 months in by now, and I hadn't gotten any call to come back. And so this was probably April, and I met Terry in August. It was 2 days before my birthday. And so I went looking for a townhouse, and I saw 2 for rent signs on 2 townhouses that are next to each other. And if you've ever lived in a townhouse, you sleep. Oh, I'm sorry, you sleep. You park your car on the back. I said, well, with 2 rent signs next door, that means I can park in the back, have that space between me and the people that are on the next door home. And so I pulled up back there and began to park back there and sleep, and I actually cried. So I met him while I was without a home, I'd say. And what was so odd about that, he was the second person that I dated while I was homeless. And I told him that I was homeless in April. I got hit on so much. And I was just telling people, no, who wants to date someone while they're homeless? But God actually spoke to me and said, stop turning people away. I'm like, what? So the next person that I met, I will never forget, I was at the laundromat, and he walked up to me, dressed nice, gentleman. There was American Deli next door. He said, hey, young lady, you look so nice sitting here. He said, is it all right if I treat you to lunch? I said, yeah. So went to American Deli, and we went out on a few dates, but his mind was only on one thing. And I found out later that he had just got out of prison, and no problem with that, because, you can recoup your life. And he had a son and everything, which was fine. And he loved his son. And I think his son was calling him at that time to talk to him. So that was really nice and sweet. But he only had his mind on one thing. So that was a no for me. So when I saw Terry in the peripheral, I was like, oh, God. I didn't feel bad about it, though, because, and this was probably about maybe a month after, maybe 3 weeks to a month after the other guy. So Terry and I talked for a while. So I was happy that he took the chance on me, that God put him there at the gas station. And I really do feel, just based on that, we were meant to meet. But you still want to make sure that you're walking with God when you meet people. I was telling people, I don't know if I have this in the book or not. It's not in the book. So this is going to be for the podcast. So what was I saying?
Something said. So you have is about the book.
About the book. And when I met you in the book, I didn't put this part, but I shared it with the women at the meeting when we were talking there, where I got this idea from. So Terry, when we met, he had just recently gotten a divorce. And one night on the phone with him, he said he'd been divorced for about a year and a month. And when I hung up the phone that night, and this was after we had talked a couple of nights, and I said, did he say he just got divorced a month ago? A month? I said, I don't want to date anybody that just got a divorce a month ago. I don't want to be a rebound person. And I just cried, because I had already kind of fell for him, had really deep, strong feelings, and I had already booked a hotel at another city to stay in for my birthday, because we met 2 days before my birthday, and we talked on the phone on my birthday night, and all that. I was not going to sleep in my car on my birthday. So I had a hotel. I want to say my birthday fell on a Saturday, but I had a hotel for like a couple of nights. And so we was talking then, which was crazy, because I believe you were out of town for work. So he was out of town, I was out of town, we were on the phone. And so back in town, I heard about the 1 month. And so I said, I got to tell him. I said, it ain't going to work if he just recently got a divorce. So I remember sitting under the townhouse carport, crying and talking to him and listening and saying, God, just give me the courage. And, but at the same time, intervene. So, and we were talking, we got on the subject, and he said, yeah, yada, yada, yada. And he said, yeah, after being divorced for a year and a month, I just, this, that, and the other don't understand and all this stuff. And I said, hold up. I said, wait a minute. You had been divorced how long? He said, I've been divorced a year and a month. I said, a year and a month or just a month? He said, I've been divorced for a year and a month. And so I just started crying. And he was like, what's wrong? I said, if I told him then what was happening. But I eventually said that because I was considering, breaking it off because I didn't want to be on the rebound if you just got a divorce a month ago. Now, 3-month minimum, maybe. It didn't have to be a whole year, but just definitely not 1 month. I just didn't see 1 month. But baby, what were your moments, I guess, coming up to us meeting besides not knowing why you were at the MAPCO?
Well, one time for my first minute, I just was gonna say a bachelor.
Oh, yeah.
Apartment, just gonna stay a bachelor.
Yes.
Just have apartment be those, but hey, it don't work out that way. When you just been around folks that been married for a long time, you have second thoughts and all that about that.
And you were a bachelor for about a year.
But I met some crazy people.
Exactly. How many people you dated before me?
Really, I really didn't date. Really don't date. Just go out a couple times and
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah.
I just go out with this person, go out with that person, and go out with this person. So it's really not I was dating.
So y'all didn't go like to a restaurant to go
Yeah,
eat?
go to restaurant, and most of that's restaurants.
Which was another plus for me because I would rather him have dated somebody before me after marriage. I mean, after the divorce and dating somebody before me, that just made it, so much better. But so that was good too, a plus. And just to get back out there. And I know it's hard because he'd been married for over 2 decades, almost
Yeah.
3 decades. And that's a long time. It shows commitment and dedication. We have 2 beautiful grown daughters with 3 grandsons now. But a
Yes,
lot
yes.
to have to go through. So you want to give people time to heal. I've seen movies where people in their 80s, they go ahead and do what they got to do. Ain't no time to wait. You know what you want. You felt the spark. You're going to do what you got to do. But, you have to really trust and believe God. I'm just still overwhelmed by the fact that he didn't know why he was at
So,
Malco. Did you say you still don't know why you was at the Malco? Other than for us
Well,
to
we
meet?
still, yeah, we
Other
still
than
don't know.
for us to meet.
Like I said, I'd probably just stop by, like I said, because it probably was a new service station.
Yeah, yeah,
Because like I said, I wouldn't pay a 5 or 6 service station to get to them.
yeah. So that is odd, baby.
Yeah.
That is odd to come all that way to get gas and grab
Right.
something to eat.
Yeah, right
Yeah,
next to the service station, on
Yeah.
that shopping center,
yeah.
walking distance.
But I'm so glad that he was led to come that way. Not saying that we could have met somewhere else, but it's literally it was right up the street from where we live now.
Mm.
And I'm just truly amazed, truly amazed. Anything else?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Publix was there, yeah.
Publix was already there?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a brief pause to have a little fun, and then we're going to come back to this, but we're going to play a little game called Pop the Question. So let's get started. What is your spouse's favorite way to spend a free day?
Sleep.
Oh, wait a minute, is that for you or for me?
You.
Oh, my favorite way to spend a free day. Yeah, I could sleep. I could sleep, but I have too much to do. I don't sleep as much as I used to,
On the
but
computer.
on the computer, which is not my favorite place, but I just happen to end up on here. I love to work. I love to work, so I'm probably gonna be finding myself doing some work related things. Your favorite way to spend the day? Watching Cops on TV, or if any sports.
Yes.
Yeah, any sports are on. Now, if it's football, yeah, that's my sports too. Basketball. I've kind of watched a little bit with him, but I love football.
I used to go to the grocery store,
love
try
it.
to find something to cook a lot.
Yes, he can definitely cook, and I have to fight to get up in the kitchen. I have to fight. All my life I had to fight. So I have to get up in there if I want to cook. All right, next. Oh, on the same line, what is your spouse's favorite food?
What's your favorite food?
I eat them all, though.
Yeah, fish.
Yeah, I love fish. I love me some whole catfish.
Yeah, whole catfish.
Oh, absolutely. That would have to be my favorite food. His favorite food, probably salad.
I eat salad, barbecue.
salad and barbecue ribs, but he's kind of cut back on
Yeah.
those. But he loves ribs and salads and love to barbecue. And let's do one more. Let's see if we can get one more in. What is their favorite movie of all time? Of all time?
Really, like that's my favorite movie of all time. When
What's
I watch a movie 100 times, the
what is that?
same movie. So I'm just saying.
Well, that's a TV show. I know you're talking about Sanford and Son, just on repeat.
Yeah.
But you got a favorite movie that you can watch over?
Yeah. You know, I ain't really a movie.
I'm not a movie person
I go to a
either.
movie and fall asleep quick.
Yeah, or even at home sometimes, but he loves action movies. So if I find a
Yeah.
good action
Yeah,
movie,
good action.
he'll stay up for those, and we'll watch a whole lot of action movies.
I ain't too crazy about no scary movie.
Not
I was like scared a lot.
right.
I watch singing movies about like gospel or whatever.
We love Praise This.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. And I think it's been underestimated because I really didn't hear a lot about that movie.
Like you watch
But yeah,
Creed, the boxer.
Creed. I love Creed 1, 2, and 3. Found out that I don't know if this is true or not, but they said Ryan Coogler had a hard time getting Sylvester Stallone to commit to that movie because he didn't want to be the supporting character. He wanted to be the lead like he was in Rocky and all that. So, but I don't think that movie would have been right without Sylvester Stallone in it. So, I love every last one of the Creeds. I wish they would do a Creed 4. I'm waiting on it, but I love all of the Creed
Like
movies.
Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock and all them.
Oh, comedy stand-up
Comedy
shows.
shows,
Yeah,
yeah.
we love those as well. All right, so as you see, we have about 21 questions, and we're going to hopefully include these in all of our podcasts, but they'll be jumbled up, and we never know which one is going to land on. All right, so we hope you enjoyed that Pop the Question session. And do we have anything else that we want to share about the way that we met, baby? Anything that we left out?
I don't know. That's it. That sum it up. Most sum it up.
That sums it up.
And only thing we have to go when we got married, her dad died 2 weeks before we got married. My mom died 2 days before we got married.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks for my dad.
Yeah,
It was yes, and actually 3 days before my birthday, 2 days after my sister's birthday. We believe COVID was here in summer of 2019. We got married at September the 14th of 2019. And COVID, we believe, was here in the summer of 2019 or earlier, and they just didn't announce it until March of 2020 when they shut the country down because we were undecided as to whether we want to get married September 2019 or in the top of 2020. And I'm so glad we went ahead and did it because we would have probably had to wait longer since COVID was announced, or either had a smaller wedding. We had about 150 guests, even though it was so hurtful that our parents passed away right before our wedding. If they would have happened afterwards, then we wouldn't have been able to visit them in the hospital. We wouldn't have had a decent funeral for them because you know how the funeral homes were just overbooked during COVID, and we didn't know where they was putting some of these people's bodies. But we know our parents had the best seats in the house at our wedding. It was so heartfelt, but we just hate that had to happen. But hindsight, we just glad it didn't happen during COVID. But we got married on September the 14th, 2019. We celebrated our 5th wedding anniversary. I wore the dress that I wore at our reception to our dinner on our 5th anniversary. So we're happy.
Then she broke her feet at the reception.
At the
wedding reception.
At the wedding reception. So I broke my right foot. I'm so glad you thought of that. And we're at the wedding reception, and there's a hole in the floor. My heel goes down in the hole. Just real quick, boom, snap. I said, oh, up and up. And then we continue having fun, enjoying the reception, and we change clothes, come out, put on some more heels, a little reception dress, and we continued to just enjoy the evening. Well, 2 hours later, my foot started throbbing, and I was tiptoeing on the way out. And my husband said, oh, did you break your foot again? I said, I will know in the morning. And that next morning, got up, had one knot on my foot.
You had to go up some stairs.
Had to go up some stairs.
You had to get on my back.
For real?
Yeah, that's the only way you could have got up the stairs.
You had to carry me on your back up.
Yeah.
It was about 15 steps.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But taking that much pain. He had to.
Because I had to hold the rail on the other side.
and you put me
Mm-hmm.
oh, Lord, y'all. So I probably should have known by then it was gonna be bad news in the morning. And thank God we had not scheduled our honeymoon because I was a realtor at the time. I still am, but it's referrals. And I had to stay home because we were in the middle of closing on a home. So we had pushed our honeymoon out to later. And thank God, because I hurt myself and we wouldn't have been able to enjoy it anyway. But do you remember the day of going to the emergency room? But that was the first day as a couple. I was walking around showing houses with that boot on.
You had the boot on at the funeral.
Had a boot on at my mother-in-law funeral. And to inject, when my dad passed, my husband asked me that I want to continue on with the wedding, and then reminded me that our dad was more excited about the wedding, almost more than we were. When they went to get their tuxedos fitted, he was just so happy. When my mother-in-law passed 2 days before our wedding, I asked him the same question. Did he want to continue on with the wedding? She passed away. How?
Heart attack.
You were where?
Out of town. Well, I was coming back from a job out of town.
Right. And then my sister-in-law was at the house along with my brother-in-laws.
Cause the
Mhm.
next day we was having the dinner.
The dinner, the rehearsal dinner.
rehearsal
Sure
dinner, yeah.
was. That sure was the next day. And so before my sister-in-law could get home, which was about 10 minutes away, they called her to come back to the house. And cause my mother-in-law had passed out and was unresponsive. And that's all that we knew at that time. I was at the hairdresser under the dryer, and Terry came by there, got the keys, went on to the house, and but he said by the time he got there, she had already passed away, and he called me back to let me know. I just went to screaming and hollering. I love my mother-in-law so much as if I had known her all my life. And one reason being I found out later on, I don't even know how later on it was, but her and my godmother was best friends. And I never saw my mother-in-law. We stayed over at my godmother's house, and my mother-in-law had been over there for parties, Christmas parties and stuff, and never saw my mother-in-law while visiting my godmother. It was so crazy how God knits people together. She had 2 dresses and was trying to decide which one to wear. I told her, bring both of them because you can change clothes. She was so excited. So when I asked him that question, did he want to go on with it? He said the same thing. My mother was more excited almost about the wedding than we were. So I believe they would want us to move forward with it. So we did, and I'm glad we did. And we realized we couldn't have done nothing about it because they both had pre-existing conditions and COVID was already out. Our government just had not told the people yet. They could have had on masks and stuff by then or been a little bit more safer had we known. But we're so happy that we had a beautiful wedding. I remember I got the idea to incorporate the first signature. So you have the first dance, you have the slicing of the cake, you have the what else you do first at a wedding reception? I know it's first dance. The slicing of the cake and first, but it's something you do.
What do you call
Ain't nothing else first at the wedding. But I incorporated the first signature because
right? What it is?
the toast.
Toast.
I don't remember us doing toast. And I watched the video. We didn't do any toast. My best friend / matron of honor did not say anything. His best man didn't say nothing. We forgot all that because we were just so overwhelmed about our parents passing. We just floated through it, but it still was lovely. It was amazing. Catering was so stupendous. The decorations, the lady put up a sign where I can come over and sign my name, my new name with my new last name as a first signature. And I had never seen that done in a wedding. So we do have a YouTube channel. Our wedding is on there. And you can see our first signature it's called Chilling with
The cow.
CHILLIN with the Calhouns. But I'm just so happy we came up with the idea for this podcast. So baby, you think of everything. Do you have anything else that we are missing?
No. But remember, the woman gonna do all the talk.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, y'all is gonna do all the
Why do you say that?
Most men ain't gonna do it. Most all the talking. Agreements, they gonna do all the talking. So
And it's been statistically
believe.
proven that
Yeah.
women have more words. We have more words than men. I've seen some. I know some women that don't talk a lot, but yeah, even though they don't talk a lot, they probably still talk more than their husband or significant other. Or I understand completely that it's just our nature. It's the way God made us. It's the way God made us. I ain't mad at it at all. But on that note, we're so happy to share how we met. We're so happy we could play Pop the Question with you guys. Don't forget to sign up with our job form. We want this platform to be available to everybody to share their story, and we can't wait to hear it. See you later.